guys, so we are back at the basically parking spot that we parked this morning for our morning hunt. And what we wanted to do is take the opportunity to throw the drone up in the air, and we're actually going to show you or walk through basically our thought process, what we tried to do to hunt based on the wind direction, which in this situation kind of had like a westerly wind, northwesterly wind. And if you can look here on the drone footage, we're gonna go ahead and start recording. All right, so if you can look here on the drone footage, you'll see we've got these bright or dark colored strips on kind of the central part of the screen right now, but we ended up setting up 4 of us walked down through those strips, and then we were going to pivot and walk that low spot that you can see that kind of winds through the center of the screen all the way to where it gets a little bit darker there in the middle, and those are kind of some trees, and all through that bottom are cattails. Cattails are a really good safe haven for birds this time of year.
The snow kind of packs down and bends them over and creates these little tunnels, and the birds can run through there and nest down in there and get out of the wind, and are pretty happy to stay in places like that.
Exactly. So we had initially when we came up to check stuff out, we had some birds in the row of trees that you can see kind of in the center of the screen toward the bottom. There were birds in there, and they flew out to these strips here, and they flew down into that bottom. So our goal was to kind of work that wind by walking down the strips so that we could get and push up that winding draw of cattails. And when we got through that, I mean, it worked out not 100% perfect because it's not super windy today, which is a little bit of a disadvantage this time of year because the birds are jumpy and then they could hear us coming. But for the most part, they stayed. Quite a few of them stayed.
Yeah, so they were a little jumpier in the food plots that we walked first. I tried to end up getting down so that I could block at the end of those food plots.
Yep, she ended up, so the 3 of us walked the 3 dark strips, and then Kat ended up scurrying down the road and getting down on the end to block at the end of those strips because some of the birds are starting to go ahead, and we got a couple shots through there. We didn't get any, we didn't complete any of those and kill any birds, but we had a couple opportunities, then a bunch of hens, which you see a lot of hens this time of year, and it's a good sign. If we weren't seeing hens, we wouldn't have anything to you know, repopulate for next year. So right. Seeing lots of hens is important. But then we kind of wound through that bottom. We got a couple roosters up out of there, but we got a ton of hens through there.
Mm-hmm. And those held a lot tighter. They were waiting for the dogs to work them.
Yep, Pepper pushed a bunch of them out. She's a little lab. Yep, she did awesome. And Muddy pointed a few birds. Even Quest pointed a few birds through there.
Quest backed quite a bit too. She's doing a nice little job. And
we ended up pushing that draw all the way around to where, if you can look on the bottom left side of the screen here, that tree row, it's called a shelter belt, which is where the birds originally were. We had guys standing at the end of that blocking. So we pushed down the strips to the right here.
4 of us did that.
Yep, and then the 4 of us turned, walked down the bottom of that draw. 2 on either side of the draw. Yep, and then pushed all the way back up to basically right at the center of the screen now where those trees end. That's where we had our blockers, and then also we had pickup trucks there to be able to haul all of us back to the other trucks and kind of work everybody back around. So it makes, there's a couple different things that we're looking at. One, direction, surrounding the birds, having blockers, and then also having the trucks there so that we can kind of save time and be able to make it, you know, be able to hunt some more spots. Hunt as efficiently as possible. Exactly. So we're gonna try and come down here, get a little bit closer, kind of fly the cover so you can see what that looks like. And other than that, folks, it's we get a lot of questions about how we hunt stuff, and this is one example of how we attempted to hunt this property. It wasn't perfect. We lost quite a few birds, but it's part of late season hunting too. We did end up on that walk. We actually didn't end up killing anything on that walk, but we had multiple opportunities. We could have killed 3 or 4 birds, maybe 5. And so all in all, it worked out pretty good. All in all, it worked out pretty good. But I'm gonna go ahead and buzz down through this. You'll be able to see some of that. And other than that, folks, we appreciate you watching. We love answering questions and putting out content to allow you guys to see what you want to see. So make sure and throw in the comments below if you have specific questions about this hunt or other hunts, or you want to see more stuff like that, just let us know. Other than that,
we'll see you on our next hunt.
All right, thanks guys.